Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah and today I'm back with another reading vlog. So if you've seen any of the other videos of my channel, you will probably know that my main reading goal for 2024 is to read all of the physical books on my TBR that I've had since before the start of the year. So before the start of the year I had 60 books that I owned, which for me is too many just because I wasn't reading any of them. I think that that's a very manageable number of books to have on your TBR if they're all newish books that you're still excited about. Some of these I'd had for 4 or 5 years and I was realistically just never going to pick them up. So this has been a very good challenge to just force myself to read them or at least give them a go, and if I'm not enjoying them, just DNF them and sort of unhaul them, get rid of them. So far it's going very well. We're a couple of days before the end of June and I've read or DNF'd 30 out of the 60 books, so we're very much on track. So I just want to keep up the momentum. I have a lot of longer books still left. Like I'd say that over half are probably over 500 pages. So that's stressing me out a bit. However, at the moment, I'm just really trying to prioritise the ones that I'm excited to get to. If I get to the end of the year and I have 5 books left in December and I'm just like, I don't want to read any of these, then I'll just get rid of them. That's not a problem. So yeah, I thought my focus for this month is just going to be to read the ones that I'm the most excited to get to. So I've picked 4. So these 4 should get me to my goal for July, and since we're not even in July yet, this should hopefully be quite manageable. We'll see. The first book I have is Moby Dick by Herman Melville. This book I was not excited for at all because it's about it's about sort of whaling and a nautical type book, which does not really appeal to me at all. I was watching Catherine's channel, I'll link her below. I just came across her recently and she says that Moby Dick is one of her favourite books of all time, and you know, she's really sold me on it. She said that it is really interesting in the way it sort of plays with form, that it like goes into a lot of depth about all of the whaling equipment, but then also all of the characters, and it's just quite quirky and you just need to give it time and sort of sit with it and take it all in. So I'm inspired. I think I could enjoy this. I have read about 30 pages so far, and I am enjoying it. I had picked this one up in audiobook maybe a couple of months ago and I read the first chapter and I was like, oh, the writing's actually really beautiful in this. I want to read it physically because I didn't want it to sort of wash over me. So I'm hopeful about this. I think this could be like a 5-star read. I could also hate it because I don't really like nautical books, but yeah, I'm going to give this one a good go this month. This one is about 650 pages, which is quite long. The writing's quite small, but a lot of the chapters are quite short, so there are quite a lot of page breaks. So yeah, we'll see how we go with this one. I'm going to try and take this one quite slow, just read a little bit every day to chip away at it. The next one that I think I could really enjoy is Sabbath Theatre by Roth. This one you see in sort of charity shops all the time. It's written in the 80s. It's about a man named Mickey Sabbath who owned a puppet theatre. He's now sort of a bit older, he's quite poor. I read the first chapter and from it he seems like not the nicest character. In the first chapter, his girlfriend, who he is married, so it's like a girlfriend he's having an affair with, tells him that she wants a monogamous relationship and he is not for it at all, and he's sort of making excuses why he doesn't want to do it. So I think this is going to be a really interesting read. It's about 450 pages. Roth is a very well-known American author. I've not really heard many people talking about this. The only person that I've heard talking about it is Sandy from Misreads a Lot. This is one of the books, I think, on the 1001 books you must read before you die list, and she's working her way through all of those books. I think she read it a couple of years ago and she hated it. She was just talking about how he was such a despicable character, and how some of the things he did really disgusted her, which makes me interested because even if I don't love it, I think it's not going to be a book that you finish and you're like, yeah, I think I'm going to have strong thoughts one way or the other. So that also made me want to pick this one up. The next one is Tar Baby by Toni Morrison. I have been putting this one off just because I read some Toni Morrison before and really liked her. I read The Bluest Eye and then I picked this one up, but since then I've heard that it's maybe not one of her better works, so that sort of put me off. However, I heard Renee over at So I Read This Book talk about this. She read it recently, and she was saying it was really good, and that there were some excellent dinner party scenes in it. And I love a dinner party scene. Like, I just think it's so interesting, sort of conversations over dinner. This is a book. Let me read just a very short blurb because I have no idea what this is about. Into a white millionaire's Caribbean mansion comes Jadine, a graduate of the Sorbonne, art historian, and American black, now living in Paris and Rome, and son, a criminal on the run, uneducated, violent, contemptuous. So I think it's going to look at race and class quite a lot. Both of the main characters are black, but one seems to be from a well-off background and one not. So yeah, I think it's going to be really good. It's also quite a short one. It's like one of the shortest ones I have left on my physical TBR. It's what 309 pages. So yeah, this I'm hoping I will sort of fly through. We'll see. And then the last one that I'm going to read for this vlog that I'm really excited to pick up is the Autobiography of Alice B. Tolkas by Gertrude Stein. This one I picked up only last year. I went to this really cool second-hand English bookshop in Krakow in Poland, and they had this like amazing edition of this book. It has loads of like pictures inside it, all like let me see if I can find another one, all sort of really bright paintings. So I think even if I don't like the words in this book, I'm going to really enjoy the pictures. This, I don't even really know what it's about. I think it, as the title would suggest, is the autobiography of a woman that Gertrude Stein knows, or maybe it's just a fictional character, but I think it's told as if she knows her. I have heard that some of Gertrude Stein's writing is very experimental. I don't think that that's the case for this one, and again, it's on all of the like best books list, and yeah, I'm just curious. So yeah, that's the other one I'm going to be reading for this video. So I think I'm going to start with Moby Dick and Sabbath Theatre, and then I'll see how I go. I'm also moving house this weekend and I'm sick, so it's not a good combination. I have so much stuff to pack, and we're just moving sort of 5 minutes round the road to a smaller but cheaper house, so that is good. But yeah, I have so much to do and I don't want to do any of it. So yeah, not sure how exciting this reading vlog is going to be. I'll probably read these over the next few weeks, so hopefully I will do some fun stuff in the middle. Hello. Okay, so I am back with an update. Yeah, as I said in the last clip, I think I'm in the process of moving house. I've started packing a lot of stuff up, so everything's looking very bare and horrible at the moment. However, I should be moving in the next couple of days, so I'm quite looking forward to getting everything set up in the new house. I hate moving. I always think it's going to be easier than it is. I'm like, I've done this so many times. But yeah, every time I go to move, it's so much more work than I think it's going to be. We're literally just moving like 2 minutes around the corner. So I was like, we don't really need boxes. We can just shove stuff in the car. But obviously it's a very inefficient way to do things if you're just shoving individual items in a car to drive. No. So yeah, I'm gonna have to get some boxes, I think. Anyway, I do have a reading update. Some good news, some bad news. I have decided to DNF Sabbath Theatre. I feel like I gave this one a good shot. I read about 115 pages of it. It's like a 450 page book, and this book, yeah, it's just not for me, unfortunately. I really thought I was going to like it. What I really didn't like about this book is it felt like it was trying to be shocking. So there's a lot of very explicit sex in this, which like I have no issue with, but that like as soon as an author feels like he's trying to shock me, then I just completely lose interest. So like in this, there's a lot of like masturbating on gravestones, stuff like that, where it's just like, okay, like we get it, but it doesn't really shock me. It's just, I just find it a bit tiring. It's like when a comedian tries to just tell the dirtiest joke they can think of. It's like, okay, I don't really find it shocking though. So I wasn't really liking that aspect of it, and it really felt like it was just going to go further down this route, because I read Goodreads reviews where it was like, oh, the lengths of the things that he does in this book get more and more shocking as it goes on. So I wasn't liking that aspect already. And like, you know, part of me was like, oh, like I wonder how bad it can get.
But yeah, it feels a bit gimmicky to just like, I don't know, try and put like more and more shocking stuff in this. So I wasn't really liking it. It's meant to be a character study of this sort of, not even despicable man, but just, yeah, like quite unlikable character. But like, honestly, like, I just don't care. The writing was okay. Yeah, I just don't think this is a book for me. It felt like it was going to build very slowly. Like, each time I finished a chapter, I thought, oh, I'll just try the next chapter and see if anything happens that's going to like change my mind. But it seemed like it was going to like be more and more of the same. So yeah, I just decided this is not a book for me. I'm really enjoying DNFing this year. I would say that until about the start of this year, I really struggled to DNF books because I would always think, oh, like, what if it gets better? But with experience, I found that like 1 time out of 10, the book gets better. And even then, like, if I've not enjoyed the first half of a book, even if the second half gets better, like, it's still not going to be a favourite book, realistically. So yeah, I've just really been enjoying feeling like I can put books down and not beating myself up about it. Like, I'm not saying this is a bad book, it's just not a book for me. Then a couple of better updates. I have been reading Moby Dick. I read, I think I'm on page 120, 123, which is about like a fifth of the way through this book, and I'm really enjoying it. Until I had heard other people say that Moby Dick was an amazing read, I like had no interest in this book at all. But so far, the writing style is so quirky. It's like some of the chapters are very, very short. And they all are like very specific. So like the name of each chapter sort of tells you what it's going to be about. So there's like one that's called Breakfast, one that's called The Street, The Chapel, and almost to a certain extent, like, the writing style is a little bit different in each chapter. It really depends what Ishmael, who's like the narrator of the story, is talking about. So at points he's like sermonizing on whaling, and then at other points he's like describing a friend that he's made. I'm really like, yeah, there's some really nice turns of phrase in this. It's quite humorous at points. He's literally just got on the whaling ship, so there's still a lot to go. I'm worried it's going to go downhill because I don't really love the sea. I don't really love the idea of whaling. So yeah, so far, really good. Also, I read a book earlier this year called Figuring by Maria Popova, and in it she is basically a sort of non-fiction book where she's going through different queer artists' lives and how they intersect. And in it, she talks about Herman Melville and how he was writing all of these letters to Nathaniel Hawthorne, who wrote The Scarlet Letter. And it seemed like he was sort of infatuated with him, and Nathaniel Hawthorne shut it down. Like, I don't know how much truth there is to that. Like, I do think it, like, I imagine so. But there's a bit in this. There's this bit where he becomes friends with someone that he's sharing a bed with in this sort of boarding house that he's staying at. And he's like, it almost seems romantic, their friendship, which I was quite enjoying, having like knowing that about Herman Melville. He writes at this point, they're like in bed about to go to sleep. Man and wife, they say, they're open the very bottom of their souls to each other, and some old couples often lie and chat over old times till nearly morning. Thus then, in our heart's honeymoon, lay I and Queequeg, a cosy loving pair. So like, I'm just quite enjoying that as well. Yeah, I'm hopeful that this is going to continue the way it's going. And then I also picked up Tar Baby by Toni Morrison, and I'm about 80 pages through this, and I am loving this so much right now. It's like really surprised me how much I'm enjoying it. This book is about this sort of wealthy white family that own this house in the Caribbean. The husband is a little bit older than the wife, and he is now retired, and they've been there for about 4 years. They also have brought their servants with them from Philadelphia to the Caribbean, and they're a black married couple. And they've brought their niece to stay for a couple of months. And firstly, the writing in this is incredible. Like, I know that Toni Morrison is like such a beloved and famous writer, so like that should not be surprising, but like just some of the turns of phrase, I was like, wow. So like in chapter 1, right at the very start, she writes, the sea green green of the sea and the sky blue sky of the sky were no longer permanent. Yeah, just like some of the language in this is incredible. It's like feeling very like high tension. So the husband and wife, don't seem to be getting on very well. She has invited her son over for Christmas, well, their son over for Christmas. The father doesn't really want the son to come. He also thinks that the son probably won't come because he's been invited before and he doesn't often come. The wife is also very upset about this. There seems to be sort of tension between the servants and the wife, and the niece is almost there observing everything. She is like very well off now. This white family have given her money to study in Paris. She's also done some modelling, and at the same time there's this convict who you're meant to think is sort of hiding in their house. So I think it's all going to kick off. I'm there for it. There's like a lot of dialogue in this, but it doesn't feel stilted at all. I sometimes struggle with really dialogue heavy books because I just think like, okay, how realistic is this dialogue? But in this case, like, I can see it. I think that she's managed to develop all of the characters so well in such a short space of time. And yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying like this. I predict is going to be like a 5-star excellent read. So yeah, we'll see. So it's a shame about Sabbath Theatre, but it's allowed me to pick up Tar Baby, so I'm not complaining. Yeah, so I will catch up with you once I've read more.
Okay, so it's like over a week later and I'm finally back with an update. I have moved house since the last time I spoke to you. It has been incredibly stressful. However, we are finally moved and everything is like sort of looking okay. We still have quite a lot of furniture and stuff to buy because a lot of our furniture in our last place was not ours, so we need to buy like a coffee table and bedside table, so a bit annoying, but yeah, we're getting there with it. I do some reading updates. So I have finished Tar Baby by Toni Morrison. Yeah, the last time I spoke to you, I was really enjoying this. That didn't really change. I loved this book. It was so good. The writing throughout it was incredible. Like, I have tabbed so many bits of just like beautiful writing. Yeah, lines that I liked. And yeah, this like the tension in this really builds to a certain point, and then after that the story sort of goes in a different direction, which is not really what I was expecting, but honestly, like, I liked where it went. I thought it was a really good examination of wealth and class and race, which I think is sort of what all of Toni Morrison's books deal with. But I really like the characters in this and how it's not black and white. Like, the rich white characters are not bad people. The poorer sort of black characters are not like amazingly good people. It is all a bit like muddled up. I will definitely be reading more Toni Morrison. Like, I know everybody loves her, but for some reason after having read The Bluest Eye, like, I enjoyed it, but I like wasn't sure she was going to be an author that I absolutely fell in love with. But like, after reading this, I'm in. So I'm not sure what to read next. I know that Beloved is her most famous book. It's not really the one that most appeals to me. I know that it's sort of a magical realist story about the legacy of slavery in America. I do kind of like the sound of Sula, I think, and I've also heard that Paradise is very good, so I might go to one of those two next. I don't own any more of her books, so I'll maybe just see actually what I can find next time I'm in a charity shop, see if I can pick something up. But yeah, this was a huge success. Absolutely loved it. Then I'm about just over halfway through Moby Dick, and yeah, I'm still actually really liking this. It's, you know, it's not really like a book for me. Like, as I said, I don't really like books that see I'm not particularly interested in whaling. This is obviously set at a time where whaling was very accepted. It's not really controversial, so he doesn't really delve into that at all. You just kind of need to accept that. But yeah, like, calling this a novel is a stretch, because I'd say that like
over 50% of it is more like an encyclopedia of whales, of whaling. Like there are sections where he goes into the representation of whales in pictorial art. He gives a description of all the different types of whales. There are sections where it's like stories that he's overheard of other whaling ships while he's at sea. So it's definitely not a straightforward narrative, which is part of the reason why I'm really enjoying it, because I feel like every chapter that you open, you're like, oh, what's this going to have in it? And I think that it does work because it is building up an idea of whaling in your head. Like if you're going into it not knowing very much, which I feel like a lot of people, especially nowadays, wouldn't really have understood the dangers involved of whaling expeditions at that time and sort of all of the technicalities, like it definitely helps you out with that a lot. So yeah, I am enjoying it. There's quite a lot of humour in it. It's definitely not taking itself too seriously. The bits that I'm less interested in are the bits where he's out, like where Ishmael's out at sea. So he has now met Captain Ahab. Captain Ahab has said that Moby Dick has eaten his leg and he wants revenge, essentially. So that's like the loose overarching narrative. However, like at this point, they've not really seen many whales in their expedition. It's not like the whole book is centered around Moby Dick. It is more than that. It's probably not going to be like a favorite book of all time for me. Like I think that would have been quite difficult, to be honest, going in, considering this is quite outside my comfort zone. But yeah, I am enjoying it. And then I am literally just about to pick up the Autobiography of Alice B. Tolkas by Gertrude Stein. I have read like 2 pages of this, and so far, yeah, seems quite good. Kind of hard to tell. I will like show you some cutaways of the artwork in this because honestly it's so beautiful, and just for that alone, I think I'm gonna like enjoy my reading experience of this. From what I've read so far, I feel like this is going to be quite a straightforward narrative of sort of Alice B. Tolkas telling her life story. It's written in first person, and Gertrude Stein is a character in it, so I guess it's a bit playful with that, where she's like, when I first met Gertrude Stein. So yeah, we'll see how we go on. I'm working today. It's Saturday. I work like one Saturday a month, and it doesn't sound like a lot, but it really rolls around quickly. So that's my plan for today. And then we're going to visit my boyfriend's parents this weekend. So yeah, I might get some footage of that, and yeah, I'll check in with you soon. Okay, so it is maybe 5 days later, and I am back with some bad updates, basically. This has not gone to plan at all. So I started the Autobiography of Alice B. Tolkas, and I DNF'd this within like 60 pages. It looks like a much bigger book than it is. As I said, there's lots of artwork in it, so it's actually only like 300 pages. It was just a writing style thing for me. The way that this is written, so basically, I think what I explained before about the book is not actually correct. So yeah, this is a book that Gertrude Stein wrote, but under the pseudonym of Alice B. Tolkas at the time, because she didn't want people to know that she was writing this book. I'm not really sure why. And so this book is basically Gertrude Stein's autobiography, but told from the point of view of Alice B. Tolkas, who we don't really find anything out about. She just says, when I arrived in Paris, I met Gertrude Stein, and then the rest is just like about Gertrude Stein and about all of the people that she knew. And it really is about all of the people that she knew. This feels just like a name-droppy book. Like it's about a lot of artists that she knew. There's a list. It's about Picasso, Matisse, Georges Braque. Honestly, it goes on and on and on and on and on. Ford Madox Ford, Ernest Hemingway. Did not get to that point. It kind of just feels like this is a book of her name dropping all of the famous people that she knows and like little tidbits about them, but it's written in a very matter-of-fact style. It's like, and then Picasso came and Picasso's wife was with him and they lived in this house and they did this and blah blah blah. And I was just bored. Like, I knew who quite a lot of these artists were, but like I don't really care about their personal lives and what you were getting out of this information wise about them, which is the only reason I can see why you would read this. But it was not particularly interesting. Like there were no fun, interesting anecdotes. It all just seemed quite like plain matter of fact. I was really bored and it was honestly starting to put me into a reading slump. Like I did not want to pick it up, so I was just like, this is not for me. I would maybe try one of Gertrude Stein's other books. I think that I mentioned before that I think she's quite well known for her experimental writing, but this didn't feel experimental at all. I guess it's maybe a bit different because it's sort of her writing a memoir. What I read online was that this memoir was not well received by a lot of her artist friends. They did not like the way that she portrayed them in this. So I guess it's interesting from that point of view. I read A Movable Feast by Ernest Hemingway earlier this year, and that's basically the same book but told from his perspective, but I would recommend it over this one. So it's about his time living in Paris in the 1920s and about all of the artists and writers that he meets, and Gertrude Stein is in that book as a character, and she doesn't seem very nice, not gonna lie. So I would recommend that one. I found it much more interesting. It's less just name droppy. I guess it still sort of is, but I think Ernest Hemingway's style of writing works better for that sort of book, so yeah, I would read that one. Then the last time I spoke to you, I said I was still enjoying Moby Dick, and yeah, that's sort of changed. Nothing has really changed in the book as such. Like, it is a continuation of more of the same. I think I'm just losing the will to live a little bit with it. As I said, it's like almost 650 pages, and I've read 510, and I've kind of sped read the last like 30 pages because yeah, it got to, so today is Thursday, it got to like Tuesday morning and I was still reading it and I was like, yeah, this is fine, and then I don't know, I just hit a block where I was like, I'm not enjoying this anymore, I'm bored, and I was like so close to DNFing it, which was ridiculous because I had 150 pages left, and I was like, I've read so much of it, I have enjoyed a lot of it, but like I just don't care anymore. I think it's just that it's a very long book and we've still not even seen Moby Dick like once, which means that I know the last 100 pages is probably going to be like very fast paced about them trying to catch this whale. So yeah, I'm like, that's also why I considered DNFing it, because I was like, I just feel like the pace is going to pick up so much and I'm just not invested in any of the characters. I think that, yeah, as I said before, you can't really class this as a novel because so much of it is just encyclopedic facts about whales. That has sort of continued, or I've learned a lot about the after you kill a whale, how you strip its body of fat, what's done with the fat, the skeleton of a whale, what is done with the bones. That in itself is all sort of interesting, but not for 600 pages, and I think that's kind of where my problem lies with it. None of the characters have really been developed, so I'm kind of like not that interested in any of them. Not that you're getting much about them anyway. So yeah, I don't know, I really wanted to love this one, and I was quite enjoying it, but yeah, at this point I'm just sort of losing the will to live. But I will finish it because I have read so much of it that it would feel like a waste because when I DNF a book, I don't like log it on Storygraph, though. I'm just like, I do want to finish it. I've committed so much time and energy to it that I will finish it. But yeah, it's really not going very well. And to be honest, I think it's because I loved Tar Baby so much that it's kind of put me into a bit of a book hangover situation where like nothing I pick up is really doing it for me. So that, I mean, that's a good thing. But yeah, what I would say is that so far from reading the books off my physical TBR, it's not been going particularly well. I have owned these books, a lot of them, for a very long time. So I think my reading taste has just changed, and it's been a bit of a slog to get through some of them. So yeah, that's my not very happy reading update. I will come back to you once I've finished Moby Dick to give you my sort of final thoughts. But yeah. Hello. Okay, right, I'm back with my final update, and I did it. I finished Moby Dick. And yeah, I kind of did speed read a little bit just towards the end because, yeah, I just wanted to finish it. And I was worried that if I read like 20 pages a day, I would just completely lose momentum and not pick it back up. However, I am glad I finished it because I honestly got to the end of this book and I realised that I did not know the ending. I thought I knew the ending. And then as I was reading the last page, I was like, that's what happens in this book. So yeah, interesting from that point of view. The more I reflect back on this was definitely a very interesting read. Like, I don't think I've ever read a book quite like this because, as I said, it's like hard to call it a novel, but in some ways it is a novel. And I guess what it's doing is very experimental for the time period. It really is not taking you on the normal narrative route of a novel, which is partly what I find difficult because you have no real connection to the characters. So yeah, I am happy I read it and I am happy I finished it. But yeah, it's probably not going to be a favourite read for me. I think you can appreciate that something's doing something a bit different without falling in love with it, and that's kind of how I feel about this. So yeah, I would say out of the 4 books that I tried to read, it's kind of hard. Like, I didn't read enough of either Sabbath Theatre or the Autobiography of Alice B. Tolkas to be able to rank them. But yeah, those at the bottom, followed by Moby Dick, and then I absolutely loved Tar Baby. So it's been successful for finding one really good book, but to be honest, I am a little bit disappointed in this selection of books. I picked out the books that I thought I was most likely to love out of the ones that I have left in my physical TBR. So yeah, that's a little bit disappointing. One of the things that I would say from trying to read all of the books off of my physical TBR this year is that I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to like. Like, I read a lot. I really thought that by this point I would have been able to tell you, like, before I pick up a book whether I'm going to like it or not, and I have no idea. So that's good and bad, I guess. I guess it means you should give everything a go, or at least from my point of view. I think a lot of it comes down to writing style. So even if on paper it looks like I should love something, if the writing style doesn't gel with me, it's a no-go. But yeah, in another way, it's a bit frustrating because some of these books I have been looking forward to, so then yeah, to pick them up and really not enjoy them is, it's always a bit disappointing. So yeah, it's been a good experiment. I'm going to continue reading all of the books in my physical TBR. I have to read around 5 a month to get down to 0 by the end of the year, and I think it's going to get a lot more difficult in the next couple of months because I'm at the point where I've kind of read all the ones I was really interested in, but as I say, I have no idea what ones I'm going to like, so we will see. So yeah, I really hope you've enjoyed this video, and please subscribe if you would like to hear more of my bookish ramblings.